On dreams, a read aloud adaptation from Aristotle. Let us now turn our attention to dreams. And let us begin with a simple question. To which part of the soul do dreams belong? Do they arise from thought or do they belong to perception? These are the two ways through which we know anything at all. Either we perceive something through the senses or we think about it through the mind. When we see, we do it by sight. When we hear, we do so by hearing. Each sense has its proper object and its own way of being affected. But when we are asleep, our eyes are closed, our ears are quiet, and our other senses are at rest. We are not actively perceiving the world around us. And yet, during sleep, we see images. We see figures, we notice colors, we notice shapes and movements. So dreams cannot simply be acts of perception because perception requires the presence of external objects, and in sleep, those objects are absent. At the same time, dreams are not merely thoughts. When we think while awake, we do not usually see images before us. We see reason. We reflect. We consider ideas. But in dreams, we do not merely think about something. We seem to see it. We say that is a person. That is white. That is moving. We make judgments in dreams as if something were present to us. So dreaming is not the same thing as ordinary thinking, and it is not the same as ordinary sensing. It stands somewhere between the two. What then is a dream? Dream is an appearance that arises in sleep when perception has ceased, but the effects of perception remain. To understand this, we must look more closely at how perception works. When we perceive something while awake, the sense organ is affected by the object. Sight is moved by color. Hearing is moved by sound. These movements do not stop the instant the object disappears. Just as a stone dropped into water creates ripples that continue after the stone has sunk, so too the motions produced by perception can persist with us. Even when the external object is gone, its effect may remain for a time. We experience this even while awake. After looking at a bright light, an image may linger before eyes. After hearing a loud sound, the echoes seem to stay with us. These lingering effects show us that perception leaves traces behind. Now consider what happens when we fall asleep. These senses withdraw from activity. They are no longer engaged with the external world. But the residue motions left behind by perception do not vanish all at once. They continue quietly, without being corrected or interrupted by new sensory input. In this state, the mind receives these internal motions as if they were perceptions themselves. And this is what we call dreaming. A dream, then, is a movement of the sensory faculty occurring during sleep caused by impressions previously received. Because the senses are inactive, the mind is no longer anchored by what is actually present. So these internal movements may appear stronger or stranger than they would when awake. This is why dreams often seem vivid even when they are not true. This is also why dreams can be confused. When awake, perception checks perception. Sight confirms hearing. Touch confirms sight. But in sleep, there is no such correction. A small internal movement may appear large. A faint impression may become a full image. This is especially true when the body is affected in some way. Those who are ill, those with fever, those whose bodily conditions are disturbed, often experience unusual dreams. Heat, cold, digestion, and other bodily processes can influence the lingering sensory motions and distort them. This is why when a person has fever, they may dream of fire. Or when digestion is heavy, they may dream of pressure or weight. The dream does not come from an external cause, but from the body's condition altering the internal impressions. This also explains why children dream more intensely than adults. Their sensory impressions are strong and their capacity to judge and correct them is still developing. Likewise, animals dream. We know this because animals sleep and because they show signs of inner movement during sleep. Dogs move their legs, horses twitch, other animals make sounds. They too experience residual sensory motions even though they do not reason about them. Dreaming, therefore, is not a special activity of reason, but a natural result of perception and sleep. Now let us consider another question. Why do dreams sometimes seem to predict future events? Many people believe that dreams are sent by the gods as signs or messages. But we must be careful. Not everything that happens has a divine cause. Some dreams do appear to coincide with future events, but coincidence does not require intention. When many dreams occur, it is inevitable that some will resemble what happens later. Just as among many spoken words, some will later prove relevant by chance. If dreams truly came from divine source, they would be clear, orderly, and consistent. But most dreams are confused, trivial, or absurd. This suggests that their cause lies not in divine intention, but in natural processes. There is another explanation. A person may dream of something because they have already perceived signs of it without consciously noticing them. A slight change, a faint sound, a subtle movement may be registered by the senses without rising to awareness. Later in sleep, these impressions may be replayed and appear as a dream. In such cases, the dream does not predict the future, it reflects what has already begun. This is why many physicians sometimes pay attention to dreams. Not because dreams are prophecies, but because they may reveal hidden conditions of the body. A dream may reflect internal states before symptoms become obvious. In this way, dreams can be useful, not as divine messages, but as signs of bodily processes. Still, most dreams do not have special meaning at all. They arise from chance combination of residual impressions. And because the mind in sleep is not judging clearly, these combinations may appear significant when they are not. It is also important to note that we do not dream at all times during sleep. Dreams occur most often when sleep is light, not when it is deep. In deep sleep, sensory motions are too weak to produce images. In lighter sleep, they are strong enough to appear, but not strong enough to wake us. This is the condition in which dreaming occurs. Finally, we should understand that dreaming is not about separate faculty of the soul. It is an activity of the same sensory system that operates during waking perception but under different conditions. The difference lies not in the faculty itself, but in whether it is guided by the external world or left to its own internal movements. When awake, perception is corrected by reality. When asleep, perception turns inward. And from this inward movement, dreams arise. Thus, dreaming is a natural phenomenon belonging neither purely to thought nor purely to perception, but to perception continuing quietly in the absence of the world. And with this understanding, we may say that dreams are neither messages from beyond or meaningless illusions, but traces of our waking life moving gently through the mind as the body rests. Thank you for listening.